So we are officially live. Hello, hello, and good evening, everyone. We are back for another Candid Crucial Community Conversation. And tonight, I am just super excited to have with us tonight the candidates that are running for City Council in Wards 3 and Ward 4. So at this time, I'm going to give folks a few moments just to tune in with us tonight. If you desire for our candidates that are on tonight, you can share out the broadcast while you are muted so we won't hear the feedback from the broadcast. And after those few seconds, we'll just jump right in. And as we go through the conversation, people will come on, they will join, some will drop off. We are live on YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook at this point in time. I see people coming in, and I want to give them at least a minute to get in, and as well as to engage. If you are tuning in with us, just say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from so that we know who is watching, who's joining us this evening. And of course, we're not going to wait any longer. We're going to go ahead and jump right into tonight's discussion. So at this time, I'm actually going to call on each candidate to introduce themselves. And of course, in your introduction, just say what ward that you are representing tonight. Well, I guess we'll just start with the Ward 3 candidates. We'll actually start with Mr. Harrington.
That's all right. I'm used to it. So my name is Jameson Harrington. I'm running for Ward 3. I've lived in Cambridge about a little over 6 years now, but I grew up on the Eastern Shore, never left, love it here, love Cambridge, and I really look forward to helping people here and serving the community.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Harrington. Mr. Gordy.
I'm Gary Gordy. I've been living in, I'm representing 3rd Ward. I've been living in basically Cambridge all my life. I've been in Ward 3 basically all my life. So I'm here to represent Ward 3 to the most fullest. And hope you vote.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gordy. We'll go with Mr. Cannon.
Good evening. Thank you for having this forum here, and we appreciate it. My name is Dave Cannon. I am presently the council member representing Ward 4. Born and raised in Cambridge. Lived in Ward 4 probably over 45 years, and representing it now. So for the past 4 years, been your council representative. I spent a lot of time in the auto retail business. Presently work for the Dorchester Banner. I put that out there just in case to avoid any problems with that. I am the sales manager there at the Banner, and I look forward to this forum.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cannon. Mr. Cephas, you are muted.
How about now?
No, we can hear you.
Perfect. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Shay, for this opportunity. My name is Buddy Cephas. I am a candidate for the 4th Ward here in the city of Cambridge. I have lived in the city of Cambridge all of my life. I've lived in the 4th Ward all of my adult life. We're looking at about 18 years here in the 4th Ward. And I'm extremely honored to stand in such capacity in hopes to represent the 4th Ward at this upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, I mean, we are off to a great start. Thank you all for your introductions. And of course, as I said, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. So, of course, with besides Mr. Cannon, who's running for re-election, I know Mr. Harrington, Mr. Cephas, and Mr. Gordy, you are our new running for an elected office. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, so with that being said, the question that I have, what ignited you to file your candidacy to run for a city elected office? And Mr. Cannon, of course, the same question, but what ignited you to file your candidacy to run for re-election for the 4th Ward? So I guess we will actually come back to Mr. Cannon.
Yes, originally, when I filed for election back in 2016, I had been with the newspaper for 8 or 9 years, and before that I had worked out of town. And coming back to work with the newspaper, I had the opportunity to visit all parts of town, spend some time going to council meetings, and I heard some things that I thought might need to be worked on. I saw areas of town, and I certainly know that need to be worked on. I thought I could help in that capacity, so I filed for election to the 2016 council. And we still have a lot to do here in Cambridge. There's several places around that still need work, and that's why I filed for reelection.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cannon. Mr. Cephas, first-time candidate, what ignited you to file your candidacy for a elected city office?
Interestingly, as a kid, I've always said I wanted to be the president of the United States. But obviously, not saying that's still the goal, but obviously you have to start somewhere, right? And I have always felt like being part of change in any capacity is always not necessary. I have always been a leader. Even in school, definitely have always been a leader. And I was interested in actually looking into the city, probably at literally right around the age of 16, 18, and how can we get involved. And there wasn't really many platforms and many opportunities for the young people to be involved. I actually tried to run in the last election, but unfortunately I was 2 weeks too young. No one in the city knew that there was a minimum age requirement, so that all the more motivated me. Okay, what do I need to do to be ready for the next time? And I've served a few different committees, councils within the city, and that just kind of motivated me. And I'll go into it more later. I've been the face of diversity in a lot of actually all of the committees or councils that I've served on within the city. And that's just more motivation to continue to do and be who I am, and to give the young people more of a platform, and to have them be more comfortable to be able to speak out, to be able to get involved with the city, and not just be a statistic, a hashtag, status quo, go with the flow. And I'm just excited to be that face of diversity, and to give my generation and the generations to come more of an opportunity to be heard and to be noticed, and to be who they be the best that they can possibly be.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cephas. Mr. Gordy, what ignited you to file your candidacy to run for your ward?
Well, actually, I supposed to did this like 10 years ago. I was in training with Miss Octavine, Miss Portia, and Mr. Jimmy Cornish. When I used to go to the apartment center every single day, from open to closing, being in a lot of activity that was going on, all the way up to where we went to the House of Delegates in Annapolis to fight against the cause that was going on back then. And when I went to the House of Delegates, and I was around that big round, standing there, and everybody was around me, in a circle, in a U, like a horseshoe. And I was like, wow, this is, I really enjoyed that moment at that time. And then we studied going to city council meetings and stuff like that. But then it was like everybody, I didn't see nothing moving. I didn't see everybody would just talk. Well, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. And nothing ever got done. And I'm like, I just got out of it at the time. So I sat back, I studied, analyzed what was going on for dealing with the city, because I wanted to master what was going on in the third ward. I wanted to know what's going on before I actually to say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and jump back out there and run again. So what expired me, that would expire me from 10 years ago from the training and whatnot like that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Gordy. Mr. Harrington.
So one of the things I love about this city is when I moved here, I've met so many people, so many great people, and this town has just embraced me, and I want to give back. Cambridge has a lot of potential, but we're still kind of behind the curve. And there's a lot of people that are still held back. I mean, the downtown's grown quite a bit since I've been here, but I mean, the residential areas, there's still struggles, and I'd like to fix that. So seeing people left behind, that's not okay. It's time for Cambridge to move forward.
Thank you. So, I mean, you all gave some phenomenal answers. Of course, Mr. Cannon has been serving the last 4 years and his hopes to continue to serve. Mr. Cephas, what you said is very well true. There's a lot of young people in the city of Cambridge who really don't understand the workings of what government is, let alone who to direct what to. Is this a city issue? Is this a county council issue? Is this a state issue? Also, not knowing at what age requirement, or that there is an age requirement in order to actively run for an elected office. So I can appreciate even you, Mr. Harrington. How about I just say Jameson?
That works.
Jameson, I can appreciate you coming in and recognizing that, the city has potential. We're not taking anything from those that have served on the council prior to this election term, but we do see that because of the potential, we want to continue to progress forwardly. So one of the questions that I did receive from community is, if elected, what can citizens look forward to? If you are elected to represent your ward in the city council, what can the citizens of Cambridge look forward to? So I guess we'll start with Mr. Jameson.
One of the key things I'd like to see out of government is transparency. I want people to be informed on what we're spending our time on, what we're spending our money on. I want people to be involved. One of the things I would do as councilman, I have a phone number set up. You can call or text anytime. I want to hear what people have to say. I mean, if there's a problem, let me know. I can't be everywhere all the time. And no one can, but I want to get people involved. And without people involved, you kind of struggle. I mean, you can only do so much without the input of the people.
Yes, and that's key there, Mr. Jameson. I know that a lot of times, as Mr. Gordy shared, we hear things happening in city council and county council, just in our state period, the state of Maryland, not just the city of Cambridge, but in all areas. We hear things that, are in the conversation, in the working, and it seems like, oh, it's not moving. However, I think that a lot of the issue is people lack the understanding of process, right? They lack the understanding that even if you are elected, Mr. Jameson, Mr. Gordy, Mr. Cannon, Mr. Cephas, if you are elected to serve your ward, it takes more than your voice. It takes more than you standing up to say, this is an issue that directly affects the ward that I live in, the ward that I serve. This is an issue that directly affects the majority of the citizens in the city of Cambridge. But it takes more than just you. It takes, the council as a whole in order to see the work actually be done. So, Mr. Gordy, back to the question: if elected, what can citizens look forward to if you are elected?
Well, first I want to concentrate. Not first, but I want to concentrate on the youth. Our youth we losing our youth. And with the youth, I have plans that I would like to do with the youth, far as education, far as jobs. I would like to bring back the workforce, the job workforce for the youth, like how it was when we were young. Also, I would like for work with Habitat to try to get try to get plans as far as programs for the youth so they can learn trades. I have already done so, talked to a few, and we might can make that happen, where the youth can learn how to build houses from scratch, learn how to do electrician, plumbing, and stuff like that, and just try to bring back the youth. So dealing with investments, besides just spending your money and wasting your money and stuff like that. Also, I would like to, it's just so much. It's hard, it's so much I have in my head. But it's a lot. But my main concern is housing. I would like to deal with housing to teach the people how to budget, programs as far as how to budget, also how to the rent, dealing with the rent. Rent is too high for Cambridge right now. Is I broke it down the other day, and I broke it down to somebody the other day, and by the time they pay rent and electric and water and everything out the whole year, they only gonna have a couple of $1,000s that they made, for the whole year after it's all said and done. If that's I did it on a $30,000 a year salary. So we got to educate. The main thing for me is education, jobs, and rent control.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cephas.
I would say a couple of points for me. Definitely transparency, definitely accountability, definitely respect, definitely partnership, definitely integrity. All of which I would say are things that I will commit to personally to not only the citizens of the Fourth Ward, but to every citizen in the city of Cambridge, and to any citizen, rather, any person that I would come in contact with. Those are definitely things that I would have absolutely no problem committing to, and would hope that the citizens who elect me or vote for me, that they would hold me to that level of accountability, and definitely maintaining that transparency. I'm not gonna hear your concerns and then tell you that I'm working on it, and then I'm not doing absolutely nothing. I'm not gonna, take it all in and then not give you updates, as we go. If I don't have the answer to something, I'm gonna, work toward that answer, work toward that solution, but you will be updated every step of the way, so that you feel like that, or so that you'll know and be confident that I do have your best heart and your best interest.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cephas. Mr. Cannon, if re-elected,
Yeah.
what can citizens look forward to?
Yes. When I got elected the first time, my main goal was to be accessible. I wanted the people of Cambridge, not just in the Fourth Ward, but the entire city of Cambridge, to be able to reach out to me with their issues, their concerns, and be accessible to them, and work with them in a way that is easy for them to understand the process of getting things done. I found when I came on the council that I thought we could get things done right away, and that's not how our government works at this time. So my big thing is being accessible. My phone numbers are out there, my email, my Facebook's out there, and people reach out to me all the time about small issues like drainage problems and problems with. I'll give you a little story. When the first week on council, I am having dinner with my wife on High Street and got a phone call from a resident in the Fifth Ward who had a deer problem. And the DNR had come in and shot the deer because it was tangled in the fence. Sorry if it grosses anybody out, but that's what happened. They left it there. They happened to know me. They called me, and I made a couple phone calls, and within an hour we had that taken care of. So there's little things like that that council people need to be accessible and to understand that they may be small problems to some people, but if it's happening to you at the time, it's a major problem, and you need to reach out and take care of that problem. So mine is accessibility and understanding that the people need you when they call you, and you need to hear their concerns and be accountable for them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Cannon. I think that that's one of the things community typically forgets. We hold campaigns and we say, yeah, I need your vote. Show up, vote for me. But at the same time, we, as Mr. Cephas, you spoke about that accountability. If you are an elected official, the accountability comes from the community. It comes from the citizens that reside in the city of Cambridge. So one question that has come through, and I believe that this here is going to go to Mr. Gordy. Ms. Roberts asks, are you going to concentrate on teaching them skills versus pushing a college education?
Well, college is good. I would love to see everybody go to college, but we have to really understand that a lot of kids are not college material. So at least start a trade, at least 15, 16 years old, start a trade. Get to know something, because the fact is that they out there, and I would like to get them before the drug dealers get them. You see, I would like to get them before the streets get them. So if I can just say, come on, let's do a trade, or or let's try to do something else. So at least I can pull somebody in before the streets get them. That's the whole key. And then if we can still talk about college and or going to Chesapeake for college or whatnot like that. But trade and business.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Gordy. So yeah, more skill sets than just giving them alternates to understand that it's more than just college. Mr.
Right.
Farrow is joining us. Hello, Mr. Farrow. Well, I thought he was joining us, but he's here. Can you hear us? Maybe not. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on with this audio. However, I guess we will move to our next question. All of you have actually already started chipping at the next question. And the next question is, of course, transparency in government and accountability. When it comes down to informing the constituents of Cambridge, the individuals that are in your ward that you are representing, how will you communicate processes and changes with constituents in your ward once you are elected? Mr. Jameson made a great point. If you are elected, as Mr. Cannon said, you could get called on any time of the day, any time of night. And of course, community expects that you're going to be present. So it's not like your typical 9 to 5 where I clock in at this time and the workday is over at 5 p.m. There is a level of accessibility that the community expects to receive from you if you are elected as an elected official. So have you all thought about plans as it relates to keeping the community informed as processes are happening with the city, in the city council, and what does those plans look like? And I guess we will actually start with Mr. Cannon.
Yes, transparency is very important. And one thing our city council has done in the past, when we have an issue such as the budget, for example, we have workshops that the community can come to and listen to how we do the process and how we take care of those issues. We've had workshops on the revitalization of the Pine Street neighborhood numerous times where people have come and been able to express their opinions on that. So continued reaching out to the community and have them get involved as far as our workshops go, and our council meetings that are definitely open to the public. And we do listen to your concerns. We do listen to all your comments. We take them to heart. And I would work very hard to keep those continued, so the public is involved and knows what's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Cannon. Mr. Cephas.
I would definitely say ensuring that we invest in the proper technology to make sure that we are completely accessible. I actually served on a committee not too long ago where we were reviewing different things, compensation as well as benefits for the current council. And one of the things that, to my surprise, some of the other folk that were on the committee with me, they had absolutely no knowledge of what Wi-Fi was. They had no knowledge of what a mobile hotspot was. So definitely making sure that we have the utmost technology so that we as the council or even the city so that they can actually publicize all information in the event that it is something that we would have a lot of physical attendance, looking at venues that would house a lot of people, or house more than the 49 people that city chambers can currently hold. Of course, we're in a pandemic right now, so everything is kind of digitally and virtually, but definitely moving as we, prayerfully migrate out of the pandemic. Like I said, if we need to migrate to a larger venue to be able to house and seat the people that are, would like to attend or speak or whatever the case may be. And definitely just being out there in the community, so if there is a issue in a certain part of the fourth ward, definitely maybe house some outside, events or even outside forums, just to kind of go where the people are, and be reachable to them. Definitely, by way of phone, by way of email, websites, anonymous things. If someone wants to, hey, this blah 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 blah, they can send something anonymously. So just definitely being 100% accessible and going where the people are.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cephas. Mr. Gordy.
I believe the same thing. I believe that what I would like to do is have maybe once a month, once every few months, have a community meeting so the community can come and address their issues. And we can talk about what's going on with the city or what's going on with the community. They're my boss. If I'm get elected, I'm looking at the community as my boss. I'm not their boss. So I got to come talk to my boss, and my boss deliver me the message so I can deliver it to the city or whatnot like that. I'm not looking at it like I'm elected, I'm official, and I got power. No, I'm looking at it that community is my boss. I'm gonna go to my boss, let my boss know what, ask them what's going on so I can come back and deliver the message. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gordy. Mr. Jameson.
Well, obviously, in the time of COVID, it's important to leverage technology, cell phones, email, virtual meetings like this. And I'd love to do something like this meeting every month, every 2 months. And then when it's feasible, I'd love to do live meets in person, at different important places around town, maybe at a local business, just in different methods, because everyone doesn't have access to the same, technology. So in person is still important, but digital is certainly the future.
Absolutely. So I can appreciate all of those responses. And the thing is again, this isn't a one-man show, right? If elected, you're going to need the same constituents that voted you in to be there to support. So my question to you all is, how will you engage your ward to be available or to support even after elected, if you are elected? How would you get the community to show up when there are council meetings of issues that directly affects the individuals that live in your ward? How would you pull them in to make sure they show up? I believe that that's a lot of the disconnect with our city council. We vote our council men and women in, but once they're voted in, the community kind of drops them, like, you're voted in, do the job. And if I have a problem, I'll call on you when I need you. So how will you, if elected, how will you reach back to community and say, hey, we're in this together and I need you tonight to hit the phones, call in the council, listen to what's going on? Or how will you, again, I guess it's kind of a redundancy to what I just asked, but more or less so engage in community. Community need, the same way community calls on you if elected, you also have to, the community has to know that you need to call on them as well. And maybe that's not something you want to answer, but maybe someone want to share comments to that statement. Anyone can speak at this time. Okay, Mr. Cannon.
Yes, I think one of the keys to it is listening to the public. When they ask you or they have a concern, they contact you, so make sure you get back in touch with them. Make sure you let them know that their concerns are your concerns. When we've had some pretty difficult issues the last couple of years, and one of the things I pride myself on was reaching out to different people in the community and ask their opinion before I were to settle on my opinion and make my vote. Several times I've reached out to different people in the fourth ward and asked their opinion on different subjects. And I think that builds a good relationship between the council and the people in the city. When they have a problem such as Bailey Road, folks tell me about issues down there. I went right to their house and talked to them about it, so I could see exactly what they were talking about. There was a traffic safety issue there. So actually making people feel part of what you're doing, what you're trying to do for them is the key. And always return their phone calls or their emails and acknowledge that they have concerns and you're going to do your best to take care of it.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Cannon, really quick, how do you select the individuals that you would reach out to get their feedback about various issues?
I've reached out to people who have been leaders in the community and other organizations in their own little area of the Cambridge. I've reached out to people who live across town who may have more knowledge on the subject, or live down the street from me who may have more knowledge on the subject than I do. I certainly know that I don't know everything, and when you ask the people that you believe know and believe that are educated in the subject, you'll get good answers and you'll be able to make good decisions. So that's how I look at it. I look at it as we're all in this together. So reach out to the people you know who may have experience in that field.
Thank you, Mr. Cannon. Anyone else want to speak to that?
Again, I think that far as the having the community meetings, I believe that would be like the number one choice for me, because I can get all information, even if we can have to vote or sign petitions or whatever we have to do take down City Hall. Because there's a lot of things that I have watched a couple of stream videos, and since the virus been going on, and there's quite a few things, and I'm like, huh, for real, y'all really voted? You know what I mean? So what I would have did was I would have asked the community. The whole thing is asking the community, what do you want? Just don't take on what you might think that you want, but take on what the community want, because it's the same way with what's going on now with the president and everything else. Everybody think that this is what the community want. This is what the people want, but you don't go and ask the people, what do you want or what do you need? So my thing is have the community meetings once a month, once every few months, and take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Gordy. I'll tell you, like, I agree. But if we be honest, we know, like, even if having the community meetings, you can get the community to say, this is what I want. You vote for what they want based upon what you hear in that community meeting. But the reality is, it negatively may affect other parts of the community. And then you still are, Mr. Gordy, he's representing our community and he didn't do what is best for the city as a whole. So we know that, I'm just saying these things because this is Candid Crucial Community Conversations. So
Right.
we have to have the hard talks about what really is. And the reality is that regardless as to how it goes, when you do involve community and anything with community, it's like a family. You're going to have some that agree, you're going to have some that disagree. And just being open to understand that disagreement may not be exactly something that you were expecting, because you had that, you went the extra step, you had that community forum, and that was the feedback that you got from it, right? So
Right.
we know that. I thank you for your feedback. We had some technical issues with getting Mr. Farrell on, but we are excited that he has joined us. So I'm going to actually give him an opportunity now to introduce himself, and then I'm just going to actually ask one of the few questions we've gone over so far.
Hi, Dwayne Farrow, running for third ward. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Some of you know me as DJ Get Down, in place for any questions and to answer your questions and the people's questions and whoever else got a question.
So we welcome you to the stream. One of the questions I did ask the panel is, what ignited you to file your candidacy to run for an elected city office?
As I said before, so there's no discrepancies. I want to raise my property value. And I live in the third ward, and that's a major issue on the table right now is the housing issue in Cambridge. And I am a homeowner, and I'm trying to raise my property value. Everybody want this money, and they talking about the money coming down to Pine Street or what have you. I live on Pine Street, and I want to raise my property value. And ain't no other questions to it. I want to raise my property value.
Okay, so thank you for your response. I can appreciate the transparency. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have one pressing issue. We're passionate about what we're passionate about, and of course, that's what drives us in our engagement. One question we did have come in on the chat: if you are not elected, what are your plans for involvement within the community beyond this election? That is a great question. So I guess we will actually start with Mr. Farrow, since you just joined us. If you are not elected, what are your plans for involvement within the community beyond the election?
Well, that's an easy question. I'm not sure if people tuned in to the radio station when we had the forum, and I think Tom Bradley, who's running for Ward 4, I think, not Ward 1, yeah. Tom Bradley said if he was elected, he would forego his payment or his salary that we get for the candidacy or the elected position. He will forego that and go ahead and do it pro bono. I can't do that. I can tell you now. I want my money. That's not on the table. But what I would do in the community if I was not elected, here's my situation right now. If it's somebody that's going to give up any money, it will be myself. I'm in line for my home to get rehab from Habitat with the Pine Street revitalization monies. So if I am elected, I don't get that money. So it's if I don't get elected, it's a win. If I do get elected, it's a win. But, if I do get elected, being an elected official of the city, I won't get that community money to rehab my home. So with that said, if I don't get elected, I'm going to get back to what I've been doing, and that's rehabbing my home and trying to raise my property value. Right now, I'm in the midst of chopping down trees. It might not sound too much as a community thing, but I see it as a blight. A lot of trash in the community, a lot of foliage in the community, rotten trees, dead trees. Every time we have a thunderstorm or a hard wind, trees are getting knocked down. They're knocking over houses, and that's a big concern of mine. It's not just my area, but the whole area in itself, as far as Third Ward. Especially down Pine Street, Douglas Street, Wells Street area, down by Nursery Park. There's a lot of foliage that needs to come down to beautify the community. That's the start. We need to beautify the community, get rid of some of the trash in the community. And I'm doing that now. I mean, not being an elected official, but I don't get paid to clean up Pine Street week after week, but I'm out here. You understand? We're in a high traffic area. So, one night of sleep, I wake up and I come downstairs, or after a Saturday night on Pine Street, it's trash up and down from Washington Street to Mirror Street. And I'm out here cleaning. Ed Beasley, he has property here. He's out here cleaning. We have a number of people, Elks Home members, they're out there cleaning. It's a job that we don't get paid for, but we own property here. So, we care about the community. That's one thing I'll be doing. I'll cut it right there, but you see where my head is at. I definitely want to start beautifying the community and getting rid of these trees. Yeah. Definitely. That's what I'll be doing.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Farrell. So I guess we will go now with Mr. Jameson. If you are not elected, what are your plans for involvement within the community beyond this election?
Some people might recognize my name. I take a lot of photography around Cambridge and Dorchester County. I would continue doing that. I love finding the beautiful aspects of Cambridge and the surrounding areas, and being a good ambassador for the area. I've also donated my time and my skill set to downtown events and to local businesses. So that's something I'd like to keep doing to give back to the area.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gordy.
Let me unmute. If I'm not elected, I've always been, even when I wasn't, always been in the community. When it was good, when it was bad, always had ideas. And like I said, when I was at the apartment center, a lot of the ideas went through. We did. I wasn't elected, and I did the mural, the plaques. I helped with the plaques when we got the block grants for that. So I've always been there. So it doesn't make it would make a difference, a huge difference, if I was elected, because I could do more. But if I'm not elected, I would still do just as much as I was doing when I, as before. I was traveling a lot and I was working a lot, so I couldn't be out there as much as I was, 8 or 10 years ago. But things are about to change real soon, like within the next month or so anyway, so I can still be out there in the community, giving out good ideas and working with Habitat and other organizations in the community. Just a few days ago, we just did a walkthrough, and I explained everything to them, and we talked and stuff like that, and everything looked good, as far as the communications and what we talked about and stuff like that. And so either way, I would still be in the community, because Cambridge. Let me break this down. My cousin said the other day, I had an opportunity to move away. My whole family just left. My mother, my sister, my 2 kids, they moved away. They don't even live here. The reason why I haven't left, because it was something here for me to do. And God had me here. Just give me a minute. Just last year, they said put your business out there, but I'm gonna put my business out there. Just last year, I was homeless. I didn't have nothing. I lost it all. And I could have moved anywhere. I could have moved I could move to Wilmington, New York. I moved to Atlanta, wherever. But God told me, I was sleeping in my truck, and God told me, I felt it. I said, God, what do you want me to do? I'm not understanding. I lost everything. Everything I lost. And it was like, just be still. Just be patient. 1 month went by. I'm still in the situation. 2 months went by. I'm still in the situation. 3 months went by. I got a different job. Then after I got a different job, then I got another job. Now this job paying me, well good right now. So now I see what he want me to do. I had to lose everything in order to be where I'm at today. I'm great today. I'm good, but I had to obey God first. And so in order for me to lose the election or win the election, I know that I have to do something in my community for my people, because the ancestors fought for this community and had fights as far as voting and stuff like that, and every time I sit back and I listen to different, because I watch YouTube a lot, and listen to different things that's dealing with our history. I sit back and listen to Gloria Cornish when she was talking about Cambridge. So we have a lot of history here, and I'm a history fanatic. I love dealing with the history, and I want to see Cambridge move forward. So whatever I have to do to see Cambridge move forward, that's what I'm gonna do to make see Cambridge move forward. So if I win or if I lose, to the day I die, I'm gonna stay here in Cambridge and want to see Cambridge move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Gordy. Mr. Cannon, if you are not reelected, what are your plans for involvement within the community beyond this election?
Well, before I ran for election the first time, I became involved with the Chamber of Commerce of Dorchester County. I was on the board of directors. I'm still active in the chamber. I am on the board of directors of the Cambridge Rotary Club. I'm very active in that. And one of my favorite things, and some people may not know this, but have you heard of the Care and Share Fund of Dorchester County? We work closely with the Department of Social Services. We raise money throughout the year and sponsor a Santa swim each year at the Hyatt during the month of December, which we get a good turnout for that to raise money. That is one of my favorite things. I'm president of the board of that. And the Care and Share Fund is pretty well known in the community as being a giving organization. We are all unpaid. We are all volunteers. 97% of the money that we raise goes back into the community. The others for administrative things, supplies and things like that. So the Care and Share Fund is right in my heart. We work very closely with social services to help the unfortunate people who live in Dorchester, kids, the elderly. So working on those things, if I'm not reelected, I will continue to do that. I do it now, and I will continue to do that if I'm not reelected. So I have a passion for Cambridge. I grew up here, born and raised. I love Cambridge. And if you get into those organizations and they get in your blood, it's hard to give them up. And all of those organizations do for the people of the community. For instance, a Rotary builds handicap ramps. They raise money to give to veterans. So those kind of things I will continue to do. Also, I'm on the ADA committee, which is the American with Disability Committee. I helped get that restarted a couple of 3 years ago, put together a very good committee to work for the people who are disabled, have handicap needs throughout the city. We work to make their life easier. And I will continue to do that. If I'm not reelected, I will stay involved with all of those different organizations and give myself something worthwhile to do if I'm not reelected.
Thank you, Mr. Cannon. Mr. Cephas.
I think that's a great question, actually. And to Mr. Cannon's point, prior to running for this position, I too have served the city in a couple of different areas and capacities. But I definitely would say, if it be the case that I did not win this election, I would be that one person standing behind each candidate, holding them accountable to all of the fancy ways to say that we're moving Cambridge forward. I would be that person that's going to hold the commissioner accountable to, we're going to work together as a team. I'm going to be that person that's going to stand behind the mayor that said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I'm going to be the one holding them accountable. Probably more so that they would have wanted me in the office, opposed to having me pushing them so much. But I definitely am going to be that one that's going to say, hey, listen, you told the people you were going to do this. You told the people you were going to be accessible. You told the people this. You told the people you would put, street lights on Mace's Lane. You said that you would put, or you would have sidewalks put on Bailey Road. So I'm going to be that one that's going to say this is what the citizens want, and this is what we need to have happen, and hold their feet to the fire. As far as other things, I will continue to serve on whatever boards that I am currently appointed to. I will express my interest to the mayor and the council. My willingness to serve and ability to serve in any other way or shape or capacity that I am able. But more than anything, I will be that individual to make sure that the accountability that was stated at the point of election is the same accountability that we are receiving as a citizen, tax-paying citizen in the city of Cambridge.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cephas. I mean, as we all know, you all are running for the city council because you're passionate about the city of Cambridge. You're passionate about continuously moving our city forward. This particular forum is United 4C Strong. We are, definitely understand that when we unite together, we are stronger when we do it better together. And, as Mr. Cephas, you just shared, of course, we need not just you, but the community that's going to be behind, not just our city council or our city commissioners, but also the county commissioners and any state delegates that we are electing in offices, to let them know we are behind you. We are holding you accountable. So we are not just saying we want you to be elected, but we also want you to know that we're full force in this with you as well. So we are wrapping up on our time. And as I said, I'm going to be mindful of your time. I just appreciate each of you for accepting the invitation to come on. October the 4th, we will be hosting the same platform for the candidates that are running in Ward 1, as well as in Ward 5. I know that he's running uncontested in Ward 5, and I'm losing his name right now, but it is, somebody help me. Chad Marcus. Yes, Chad Marcus is running uncontested, but he is going to be coming on October the 4th with those individuals from Ward 1. And then we'll have the mayor candidates on Sunday, October the 11th at 7:30. And we'll be interviewing those individuals that are running for the mayor's office as well. This platform is not intended to say vote for one person over the other, but it's merely intended to provide the opportunity for the community to hear from each of the candidates, so that when they do go to vote, and we want our community to turn out October the 17th. This is not the same day as the presidential election. In the previous, during the previous election year, there was not a great turnout for voters. This year, I'm expecting that there will be a much greater turnout because we have so many individuals that are running. We need our community to show up on October 17th. Show up, cast your votes. You have heard from each of these candidates. And in our closing, I'm actually going to come back to each of you, and I want you just to share in 2 minutes or less, share the specialized skill set that you have that you will be bringing to council if elected, in your closing remarks. So at this time, we're going to start with Mr. Jameson. And we just want you to share specialized skill sets that you would be bringing to council if you are elected, and give your closing remarks.
So one of the things that really drives me is that I'm a problem solver. I went to school for geography, did a lot of urban planning classes, and that's just something that's stuck with me since then. And my career is still about problem solving, and that's something that I could really bring to bear if I was elected. And I do like to help people as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jameson. Mr. Gordy.
I would bring in, there's a lot that I would do for the community. But like I said, my main concern is the kids, the youth. I want to really deal with the youth because I know where I came from and how I started off. Because my record is not all. Miss Octavine Saunders told me, she said, don't be afraid of who you was and what you did and where you've been. So ever since then, I said what I had to say as far as my past. And I know people gonna go look it up. What he did, but the ones that don't know me. But I don't want to see them to go down to the same way that I went down, and then the next generation behind me doing the same thing. And I have a grandchild, and I don't want to see my grandchild to end up doing the same thing. So my skill set is basically teaching and educating the kids. Look, is a better way to do things. It's a better way to make money. The whole key to us is money. We want to make money. How can we get money? Or what can we do? Where we gonna there's nowhere for them to hang out at. Well, we got to figure out. I want to figure out all that. We're gonna do all that. That's my goal is the youth. And also I said this. I said we can get the youth working. And if we can get the youth to know about investments, maybe then the youth can teach the parents. Because like the saying goes, you can't put old wine in a new bottle. So the parents is already set in their ways. So I said, okay, if we go ahead and have the youth cut grass, like set up a program where they can cut grass for the city, or where they can start painting the sidewalks like they used to do, start investments. I want to get the Masons involved and more involved in the community. I want to get other organizations more involved in the community, because our men are just, we losing them, So hopefully, all this will come in play. I've been talking to a lot of organizations as far as dealing with the young men, and they on board. So I talked to them about setting up 501c. So we working, working behind the scenes of right now. So see what all plays out.
Thank you, Mr. Gordy. Mr. Farrow, what is this one?
Yes.
What are your skill set that you would be bringing to council if elected, in your closing remarks? 2 minutes or less.
Well, my major skill set is vision. I have vision for Cambridge. Yeah, I'm born and bred, and I've been everywhere twice and met everybody at least once. Some people just don't remember, so I'm slick talking. You understand? Going back to Spuddy was talking about accountability. We have people in office now. What hasn't been getting done, and who hasn't been held accountable? I haven't found out about some of these issues in Cambridge until I actually got out and talked to the people. 50% of the people didn't know what they wanted out of Cambridge. Don't even know what ward they live in. The other 50% were specific about what they wanted and what they were trying to get accomplished. So my thing is, tell me what you need done and I can get it done. Not a problem. Because my question is now, why haven't the people that's in office now been held accountable for some of the issues that are arising in Cambridge? You have to ask yourself that question. Can't make any moves unless I get elected. But as far as holding somebody accountable, you have to know what you want to hold somebody accountable for. Okay, so what I'm gonna bring to the table is I'm a problem solver. You already know I can talk. I love to talk. I've grown up and I've always been the one to say, I'm going to be the first person to put a skyscraper in Cambridge because I live the city life. And I've been saying that all my life. And now I understand the only way to do it is actually get in the council. You understand? Because I know the schematics of how a city is run and how it works. So what I bring is vision and personality. So if you're looking for somebody who's trying to move this city forward, hold somebody accountable, I am the one. And, I do by showing actions and not just talking. I could have taken a couple dollars from Cambridge and, worked on my property. I talk about my property a lot. But no, I'm pulling out the pocket, getting it done so people can see me chopping them trees down. It's not, cheap to chop down a tree. I'm not going to just talk about Third Ward. I'm here for every ward. People talk about they need lights on Leonard's Lane. They talk about they need lights on Mason's Lane. I grew up on Bradley Avenue. I understand their second and fourth ward over there. But my point is, all of Cambridge, I can do and speak for my ward, and I can come together with whoever's representing the other wards, and we can talk it out and collectively come together. Because you got to keep in mind, Cambridge is not broke. We got money. We just got to spend it right. That's the major key right there. And everybody's going to have something they want to get done in their ward. But if you come together collectively and say, okay, this is the best thing for Cambridge because this is what the people screaming about. How hard is that? I mean, it sounds like it's easy, but some people just make it difficult. But I'll come with a vision and with an idea that we're going to make this simple. I bring common sense to common sense problems. You know, common sense solutions to common sense problems.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
I mean, definitely, this is a conversation that could go on for longer than an hour. I try to keep it at an hour to be mindful of people's time, but this is a conversation could definitely go on for longer than an hour. So, Mr. Cannon, in 2 minutes or less, your skill sets that you will be bringing back to council if reelected in your closing remarks.
One of the things I pride myself on is respect for other people and listen to their concerns and working with them to get problems solved. We have a council that works together sometimes we don't. We don't agree on everything. I'm very mild and mild-mannered, I would say. I do listen to people and I try to find out what their needs are, what their concerns are. That is one of my best skill sets. I know how to work with people, negotiate with people, and talk to them with respect and understand what they say. I think part of my major skill sets would be being able to reach out into the public and volunteer for things and have people come volunteer to do things. You know, it takes us all to get things straight. It's just not on your council. If all the people in Cambridge would get together that want to volunteer and do things, we can get more done than what's ever been done in the past. So I would reach out. I'm able to reach out to people like Mr. Cephas and ask him to sit on certain committees that are very important to our community. So I think working together with people, understanding their needs, and respecting what they have to say is one of my better traits. I love Cambridge. I love to see it thrive. I love to see it always grow, no matter what community we're in. You know, we all work for the same best interest of Cambridge, and we need to continue to do that. And I will strive, and I promise I will strive to do that and bring all of our communities together.
Thank you, Mr. Cannon. Mr. Cephas, you just muted yourself.
Okay. There we go. Sorry about that.
You changed the
one device actually died, so I had to quickly switch over. Okay. And it's doing something else. One of them died. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So I definitely would say I have a strong background in finance. I worked in finance for 13 years. Definitely providing a fresh, young perspective, directing Cambridge to a progressive destiny, with definitely being able to vision and to see, vision as well as to execute, I would say are the things that I certainly will bring. I will not only commit to being respectful and considerate, but also integral to not just, again, the citizens of the Fourth Ward, but every citizen in the city of Cambridge, represent the entire ward.
Thank you. You just flipped the sideway, but we see you. So yes, we're going to wrap this conversation up. I appreciate each of you for accepting the opportunity to come on and share what your visions are for City Council. As Mr. Cannon, as we've all have discussed tonight, there is so many various components to process, from City Council to County Council to state. So I can't stress enough to community how important it is that we become engage with one another. And this is what United 4C is Strong is all about. It's about continuously having candid, crucial conversations to address those barriers that keep us divided. Because the reality is no matter how much we want to say the city of Cambridge isn't divided, no matter how much we want to say we as a people, we're not divided, we still have some of those divisions within our city, on our council. We see it today. So we want to continuously to have these conversations so that we can address the gaps, to build the bridge, so that we can again unite to see us a stronger community moving forward and thriving the way that we all desire to see Cambridge moving. So don't forget, October the 4th, we are back for another conversation with the candidates that are running for City Council for Wards 1 and Ward 5. And then October the 11th, the mayor candidates that are running for that seat as well. So as a community, I need your help. I need you to send questions. If you have questions for the mayor forum, please send those questions in so that we can ask those questions during that particular broadcast. If you're residing in the 1st Ward, or in the 5th Ward, please send those questions in, because I know some things are ward specific. Some issues that we have on Pine Street, we may not have on Choptank Avenue. Some issues we have on Choptank Avenue may not be the same issues we have on Bailey Road. So I know the issues are different in certain wards, but this is exactly why we need to hear from our community. We need to get those questions so that we can get those questions answered by those individuals that are running for office. I'll be honest, I could probably say all of the individuals that are running for council are not politicians. You just have a purpose. You're purpose driven. You're passionate about seeing Cambridge progress forwardly in the greatest way, bringing that unity back into our community and engaging the citizens within the community. So with that being said, again, I am your host, Shay Speaks, and I appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. I appreciate each of the candidates for joining and sharing their insight and sharing their platforms and sharing everything that you have shared tonight so that our community is informed as they go out to cast their votes on October the 17th. And if you would, please provide contact information on the stream so that anyone that comes back to catch the replay can contact you directly if they're in your ward, or even if they're not in your ward and they have a specific question that they may want to ask after this conversation to get some clarity on, then they could do that. Miss Chrissy Stanley said that this was a great exchange. Thank you to all who participated. So we had individuals that were watching, may not have commented throughout the stream, individuals that go back and catch the replay. So again, thank you all, and I hope you all have a great night.
Shay, thank you, and God bless you.
God bless Groove City and no place else.